14 is on the way. Only 3 left to go here at the tournament. Corey is very excited. Let's set up our feature match. It is win and into our top 8 Magic for one of the players, and that is Takumi Matsuura on Boros Convoke versus Karl Sarap on Esper Midrange. Takumi Matsuura, let's meet him. Top 8 of Pro Tour Phyrexia, 2 regional championship top 8s to his name as well on Team Moriyama Japan, which has been doing incredibly well. You heard Yoshihiko saying, I hope I get a few teammates in the top 8, and we could see another very dominant Japanese top 8 here at this tournament versus Karl Sarap, top 8 at Pro Tour March of the Machine, 2 Mox top 8s to his name as well on Team Handshake Ultimate Guard. Let's talk about this matchup here in these decks, Corey. I like this Boros Convoke list.
Yeah, I like it a lot, and we haven't seen a lot of Boros Convoke here in the feature match area, so let's take a look at this deck list here from Takumi. We are just playing a hyper-aggressive deck that's trying to get a ton of creatures into play and really go wide. There's a lot of War Leader's Call in this one, the kind of Glorious Anthem style of effect to just really close out the games and, you know, not play too many long games here. We're trying to finish this off real quickly. And then on the other side here, we've seen this before from Karl. Karl's been in the feature match area quite a few times, and this is Esper Midrange. This is the big bad of the format, trying to do your classic mid-range things. Keep an eye on cut down, that's going to be very important, as well as no more lies to counter the really, really big plays.
All right, everybody. Is it going to be a fast win or a long... Oh, no! I thought we were done with the cow! The cow's back, baby.
My holy cow moment for this. I am being communicated by the cow, and it is going to be a turn 2 Knight Errant of Eos. That is going to be the holy cow moment, Maria. It would be amazing.
All right. Well, I have only one thing to say to you, Corey, for bringing back this holy cow moment, and that is, how dare you? How dare you, sir? At least you got the hat. You stole my hat, everybody.
I needed to wear this hat. It was so good. So good.
I feel like Riley and Cedric are so happy with the return of this segment.
You need the hat? You got it.
Thanks very much, Maria and Corey. It's good to be back here in the booth with Cedric as we get underway with our next standard round here. 2 decks we've already checked in with, of course, Boros Convoke, a deck that hasn't featured too much on our stream over the weekend so far.
Unfortunately.
But it's good. It's good. Well, it's good to be showcasing it because I know you're a big fan of aggro decks like this.
Yes,
you wanna
love it.
You want to play them, turn them sideways, get stuck in there.
You get to do so many busted things with this deck.
All right, let's
you know, you get to play multiple creatures in a turn. You get to convoke a big 4/4 on the battlefield right away. Ideally, you get way ahead of your opponent before your opponent can really stabilize and do much of anything. Now, this isn't a die roll dependent deck, I will say, but it is a deck that does need to mulligan aggressively into good hands. I don't like keeping kind of shakies with this one because the deck actually does mulligan surprisingly well.
Well, even if we haven't seen Boros Convoke all that much, we have seen Karl Sarap playing this Esper mid-range list. So this, as one of the, or if obviously the most played deck in this format, a real test now for the Boros Convoke player, Matsuura, who, as we've already set up, Cedric, is looking at a top 8 berth with a win here.
Yes, indeed. Which would mean Boros tomorrow.
Yeah. That'd make you a very happy champion.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I would be quite pleased.
Yes, indeed. All right, well, let's see if it happens here. A good start with the Novice Inspector and Warden. We are live technically still for the turn 2 Knight of... No, we're not.
We're not live for... So... We're not live for that right now. I mean, there's no Knight in hand, so irrelevant. But this is nice because what you get to do here is you get to play the Warden, activate, do a little scry action, put a counter on that. Karl thought about responding with a cut down, which he has access to right now, maybe on the Novice Inspector. And then the follow-up is, depending on... actually, where the scry goes is irrelevant. But then you Gleeful Demolition the Clue token. That's 3 Goblins, and then you can tap all 3 of those to activate the Warden again. Warden is outrageous in this deck, and unsurprisingly, Karl's going to kill that
in
right
response.
now.
Yeah, you do also have the option to do it in response to the activation. That would also be fine, but then they just get a free scry.
Correct.
So do it in response to the Gleeful Demolition, and that's a bit of damage control there for Karl, who is going to follow things up now with a Deep Cavern Bat. This card is a huge pain in the bum for certain decks that can kind of be tempoed out by a card like this. I wouldn't say Boros Convoke is one of them.
That is correct. Now, in this instance, Karl has no choice but to take the removal spell. If you leave the removal spell in the case will, of course, kill the bat and get your card back. Now, the bad news here for Karl is that Takumi has a nice follow-up there with another Novice Inspector, another copy of Gleeful Demolition. The attacking here is pretty elementary. No blocks, unsurprisingly, because then that would, of course, cause the case to come back and would just not be a good exchange of resources from Karl. So this is a great start.
Yep.
for Takumi.
And we're going to see the Novice Inspector's clue token isn't even going to be put onto the battlefield because it'll be gleefully demolished straight away, gleefully demolitionized, and turned into 3 little Phyrexian goblins. So turn 3, 5,000 permanents in play here for the Convoke player. That's what they're hoping to do, really, in all of these games.
And now the next step to the puzzle, Riley, is to peel off a little anthem right now. It could be Case.
Yeah. War
It
Leader's
could be
Ball.
War Leader's Call. Just rip one of those off the top,
That'd
make
be
it easy.
Hot, 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 hot.
Immodane Recruiter, or just do this anyway. This is
That's
totally fine.
So fine.
Yep.
Yep. Just turn them all sideways. So the human token trades off with the Phyrexian Goblin token, leaving Matsuura in the tricky position of only having 7 creatures remaining.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Rough spot.
But his draws haven't been great so far. The Cavern of Soul, Battlefield Forge, I think, was the draw for him there.
Cavern of
No,
Souls
it was
was
Cavern of
this
Soul.
turn. Yeah.
It was Cavern
I mean, look, not a 22 land deck. Don't want to draw land in this particular instance. That's for sure. But still doing totally fine. But would like a little bit more to continue to push.
Let's see some business here. Let's see some business here for Matsuura's sake. All right, off the top. Oh, Sock and Sand. Okay. So there is the Cavern of Souls, the Paths of the Dead version, as Aragorn seeks to reclaim his throne. And Sock and Sand, the Crucible of Defiance, played to make even more tokens. So Matsuura going extremely wide here. And Sarap responds with a 2-2.
So I imagine Karl's blocks here will be 2-2 on a 1-2, 1-1 on a 1-1. Might have another play here, maybe a removal spell. Yeah, shoot the Sheriff, sure.
Okay, well, shot the Novice Inspector instead of the Sheriff, but that's all right.
6.
All right, well, in the land of the 1-1, the 2-2 is, well, not a king, but a knight.
Yeah, this is getting bad here for Takumi because there hasn't been a follow-up spell. Basically, there hasn't been an Anthem effect.
All right.
That's the biggest problem right now.
Yeah, so these 1-1s are becoming less and less relevant as the game goes on.
Correct.
And now with Karl with a legitimate blocker in the form of that 2-2. And the Bat actually will be able to block as well once the wedding announcement flips.
So once there's a transformation there, we could just see an attack here, and then we could see maybe a casting of Virtue, depending on what Karl wants to do.
And then you've got a 3-3 lifelink Bat untapped.
Correct. And now what I like here from Karl potentially is there was an attack with only 1 creature, which was just the Vigilance creature. If you attack with 2 creatures, which is the Vigilance creature and the Bat, that'll trigger the wedding announcement to draw a card, not create a creature. Karl's actually more interested in having more creatures on the battlefield right now.
Than an extra card in hand.
Correct.
Sure, yeah, you need material. All right, Virtue of Loyalty played, and no attack.
Yeah, so just the attack with the 2/2. That's it.
Oh, there was attack with the 2-2?
Correct. There was attack with the 2/2. Don't attack with the Bat.
You don't attack with the Bat?
Well, I don't know if Karl was sure he wanted to actually play Virtue or not.
Oh, okay.
So
He's still thinking about
yeah.
that. all right.
So either way, the Bat is back on defense. Immodane Recruiter is the best draw in this instance. I'm almost positive. I don't think it was
Not
drawn.
Resolute Reinforcement?
It's not that one, I promise.
No, I can tell you that now. That's not true.
Because now the creatures are just getting a little too large.
Yeah.
The Bat being a 3/3.
Yeah.
Because it is a base 1/1 with a +1/+1 counter, and then of course the Anthem effect from Wedding announcement makes it to a 3/3.
And what an attack here would do would destroy 3 of Takumi's creatures and not affect Karl's life total.
That's correct.
So Takumi in the unenviable position of just doing stone nothing there. And in come the clowns. I think are we attacking with everything here?
Yeah, so this time it is safe to attack with the majority of your creatures because double and triple blocking is bad because your battlefield's going to go down, and that's before even removal spells get worked into the equation. But also because Virtue is going to be untapping everything, your creatures effectively all have vigilance and all are going to grow. So Karl is safe to just continue to attack with everything moving forward with effectively no consequence.
I think that the Virtue of Loyalty costs 1 mana too little.
Bold. 5's a ton. 5's a ton.
We see it so routinely deployed, and the fact that it does often have an immediate impact, even when you've just got a 1/1.
Yeah.
It's a really, really strong
I think
effect.
it's just meant to be good.
Yeah, well, they've done. If that was the stated objective,
They did
They
it.
met it and then some.
Yeah, they did it.
They met it and then some. I'll tell you that.
And this is why the Anthem effects are so important in this Boros Convoke deck, because you can have starts that look like this, which is 1 drops, Gleeful Demolitions, going wide with a bunch of 1/1s, but they need just a little bit of oomph to cross the finish line. And unfortunately here for Takumi, the oomph never came, and now if it does come, Riley, it might be too late.
Yeah. This is an oomph that is not going to be sufficiently oomphy.
There you go.
I started that sentence without really having a dismount. And
No, you did. You did
no,
great.
I paid the price.
You did great.
No,
It's not oomphy enough. It's not oozy enough. It's not anything enough.
Oh my goodness.
Brutal.
It's getting worse. All right, Resolute Reinforcements flashed in. Takumi draws. It's kind of now or never, really, for him. He's on 6. Facing down. Oh, almost lethal in the air, actually. Is it? I think it is, yeah. Two flying attackers that will actually, yeah, and he's going to pack it up as a result. Wow.
Never drew the anthem effect.
So, Karl Sarap showing us that you really, if you can weather the storm early on, if you can make sure to protect your life total, not fall victim to the go wide Boros Convoke draw when it doesn't find those finishers, I guess you can say.
Yeah, that game was all around if Takumi ever found a finisher or drew another, and it drew another case. Now again, finishers in that instance can be a lot of different things. It can be case killing a creature and then transforming, I say, but it being solved, which is an anthem effect. It could have been War Leader's Call. It could have been Emodane Recruiter. It could have been a lot of different things. It could have been Sanguine Evangelist. It ended up being none of those things. And then, as we saw, the 1/1 simply were not enough.
All right, speaking of 1-drops, we have both Warden and Novice Inspector here. Going to grow the Warden. Karl not given the opportunity to cut down as he plays a tapped land to open his account. And Gleeful Demolition as well.
Yep.
Really, really nice start here. And Karl agrees with me. There you go.
I mean, this is the appeal of playing this deck, is the starts that look like this are awesome. Now, of course, we're not seeing the Convoke start with Knight Aaron Avios, but this is still a lot of power on the battlefield and the opportunity to control your draw step because of Warden of the Inner Sky. This is about the second best start this deck can get.
5 creatures attacking on turn 3. One of them somehow a 3/4. Man, that Warden is just busto. Just busto, dude. So Voldaren Epicure and Urabrask's Forge in the hand of Takumi here. Urabrask Forge coming out of the sideboard as a 3-of. At the beginning of your turn, put an oil counter on Urabrask Forge. Then create an X1 red Phyrexian creature token with trample on haste, where X is the number of oil counters. So it makes a 1/1, then a 2/1, then a 3/1, and then you sacrifice that token at the end step. So a way to play through removal.
Correct. So any type of removal spell, this will effectively let you continue to play through. Karl does have a copy of Temporary Lockdown in his hand, and that card's excellent against this strategy, but Urabrask Forge does a very nice job around it. So this is a good way to go around Temporary Lockdown, which is going to be impactful in this game.
Okay, go for the throat on the Warden. So that will mean that 5 damage comes across. And the Phyrexian Horror is sacrificed. So, temporary lockdown will permanently lock down those goblins, while the Novice Inspector gets to just hang out and play Animal Crossing. All right, Voldaren Epicure number 1. There's another one in hand.
Yeah, this is actually a really good reload turn here for
because
Takumi.
We've also got the Warden as well here.
Really also to note here, I really like the way that Takumi is using his extra tools here. The Urabrask Forge, of course, is an artifact, so you can use that with Warden along with the Blood Token and the Voldaren. And that means that the Epicure is still untapped. Excuse me, that means the Warden is still untapped if you're worried about a card like the Wandering Emperor exiling a tapped creature. Now, Takumi does have the decision along with the Scry of, if I do play this the second Epicure, another Blood Token is going to come along with it, and do I actually want to use my leftover material? We'll see how the sequencing does go here.
All right, in comes the Horror for 2 this time.
And this is what Takumi is really thinking about: is do I want to commit my final threat? Which the answer is yes in the Epicure.
Yeah,
the Blood Token comes with it, and then will we see the activation of the Warden here or not?
I think you definitely do, because you know, you sort of worry about overcommitting, but you've just put 2 Blood Tokens onto the battlefield. So if you whiff next turn, you can cycle it away once, maybe twice if you need to try to find some more action.
Yeah, you do get another look at it. And the 4th land entering the battlefield tapped here for Karl's a little bit difficult if you cared about exactly, again, the Wandering Emperor.
Going to keep up the Tishana's Tidebinder and the, or the Go for the Throat. Knight Errant of Eos off the top for Takumi Matsuura. That's not a bad one. Not
bad. Interesting decision point here on if you want to play it this turn or just try to attack with these creatures and the Urabrask Forge. You can, if you play Knight Errant of Eos this turn, you could do it via the Cavern to guarantee its resolution, but it's you effectively taking a turn off. But we're going to see it come through.
I like this. I think this is good. I think this is finding a good middle ground here between putting on pressure, not tapping the Warden, but also making sure that you don't run out of gas. By playing the Knight Errant, refueling the hand a little bit. It's also a 4/4, a very respectable size. And Karl is also under pressure from that Forge. The Urabrask's Forge is now up to, it'll generate a 3/1 this turn. And it does have trample. The tokens they make have trample. All right, nice. It's the Resolute Reinforcements and the Novice Inspector off the Knight Errant of Eos. So a little refuel there for Takumi.
One thing that this Boros Convoke deck is really good at doing, you're seeing an example of that in this game, is it's really good at coming at you in waves. We saw the first wave, and Lockdown took care of that. Now we're seeing the second wave here that Karl has to try to deal with. And doesn't have another Lockdown at this moment, does Karl? But even if Karl did, Lockdown doesn't take care of the Forge, nor does it take care of the Knight Errant. So Boros Convoke doing a really nice job of just throwing multiple punches this game.
So the Warden's going to be able to get in there for 4 here. But instead, no, okay, Tishana's Tidebinder on the Urabrask's Forge to prevent it from generating the 3/1. But the Warden now, flying, vigilant, 3/4.
Yep.
Because it has 3 counters on it, of course. As you can see there, that's its first ability. So a very, very respectable threat here, this Warden.
Just to confirm, life total is 7/18, correct?
Yes. Yeah, Karl should be down to 7, and the table judge just confirmed that. Didn't see the vigilance attack really declared, but both players are on the same page.
Okay, Warden bites the dust as its throat has gone forward. Dennick is a nice one, little lifelinker there.
Yeah, Dennick is not a bad card to have in this instance. It's going to brick. It's going to brick the Epicures. The Epicures don't want to get into battle with that thing. And then with Knight Errant, double blocking is a possibility. It's just a 4/4 up against a 3/2 and a 2/3. Remember also that the Urabrask Forge is off.
Yeah.
Because of the Tidebinder. So Karl is doing his best to try to stabilize this game.
Resolute Reinforcements follows up the Novice Inspector, but the Knight Errant of Eos off the top this turn is going to really turn up the heat here.
Looking for a little zip recruiter.
Oh, and the double whiff after, what was it? All 5 mana came from creatures?
That was a 5 creature Convoke.
And still the whiff. Oh boy!
Now here's the attack that I'm interested in, which is, will the double block take place? The answer very quickly was no. Karl just says, "I'll just take the 4."
Yeah.
And let's keep it moving.
Wow, I wonder what the odds of that happening are.
Yeah, like 100%. Yeah, I play Boros Convoke a lot.
Oh really?
Basically 100. Yeah.
Well, no, I think it's.
No, I did the math, bud.
Well, okay.
100.
No, I think it's a bit close to 50-50.
Okay.
Well, it either happens or it doesn't.
And you've been playing a lot of Arena in between rounds?
Yeah, I have.
Why don't you go fire up and tell me after you're done.
Listen
How about
to me.
that?
I've been playing the decks. I've been playing decks that for people with taste and refinement.
Okay.
I've been playing that Ben Stark Azorius Control.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that Boros Convoke deck sure does look bad right now. Giving the beat down.
All right, in they come. They're going to run straight into the Wandering Emperor. One's going to be exiled. Karl gains 2 up to 5. And now, how to deal with this Knight Errant.
Again, this is the tough spot because if you do declare the double block, you're going to win. Like you're going to make an exchange, right? But almost assuredly, the blockers are going to be ordered Tidebinder first, Dennick second. Kill your Tidebinder, turn back on my Urabrask Forge. You're going to be left with Dennick, which is the 2/3, and my Knight will die. But the Forge will be back on, and that's obviously a problem. So Karl has a real decision to make, which is, okay, go down to 1.
Go to 1.
Oof.
All right, dead to a
That's the nuts.
slight gust of wind, to be honest. And the Warden is a little bit more than that. Scry 1, bottom. All right, can be activated again. It is it has to be activated at sorcery speed.
Yep.
But it's just going to be made into a 3/4 vigilance straight away.
But
no, doesn't like the look of this one going below decks as well.
But more importantly, made into a 3/4, flyer, vigilance, all that jazz.
Yeah.
But also controlling the draw step, which is the first 2 cards were both bad, so gone.
Yeah.
This one we don't know what it is. Only Takumi does, and Takumi it's at least a decision. So Warden is so good because it's a 1-drop and all these other things, but also it ensures that Boros Convoke does not draw bad cards at this stage of the game.
Which is really critical because Boros Convoke is mostly bad cards.
Tough but fair.
Yeah. Hey.
Tough but fair.
You going to dish it out, Sed? You going to dish it out?
You want to go down this road?
You're going to start confident
Okay,
as well, my friend.
okay. I take my white aggressive decks very seriously, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you absolutely dragging white-blue control when we've been off camera all week. He just made a face at me. He just made a face at me.
The truth is the
Oh, when the cameras aren't on, my friend Cedric just has no mercy. I'll tell you that.
truth. Truth is the truth.
Yeah, he's going to let me know. Oh my goodness, I'm in for a time and a half once we get off camera. I'm going to have some very painful truths elucidated to me.
You want to challenge me? You want to challenge me on Arena? We can do it. Do it all night.
Well, for that we'd have to be friends on Arena.
Yeah.
And for that we'd have to be friends in real life. So,
Oh,
you know.
come on now.
Which we definitely are, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying, buddy. For sure. For sure. All right, Karl, bit of table piano from him. A little bit of Chopin now as he figures out what he wants to do. He's got a Rafine in hand and a whole lot of nothing else.
The good news about Rafine, if anything, is that it's a flying blocker.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, here we go.
Can't get enough of it. I mean, this is just going to make Denik ideally a little bit bigger. Karl's draws and discards for Knife have to cooperate.
Yeah. Finds a Rafine, 2 other lands as well. Oh, no, perhaps not.
It's at least 1 other land. It might be 2. Yeah, this is that's game.
No, going to
That's
pack
game,
him up.
yeah.
Going to pack him up. We're going to game number 3 here. Takumi Matsuura taking it out in game number 2 with a much better draw from the Boros deck there. And as you say, that Warden coming in clutch in making sure that the advantage that he began with didn't go anywhere.
Now, here's what I'll say.
All right.
Takumi's draw, that game looked absolutely fantastic on the play because lockdown was a little bit slow because it was on the draw. Now, it's not that temporary lockdown was poor. It was actually quite good, but it would have been much more effective on the play from Karl as opposed to on the draw. So, Karl being on the play here in this matchup is very, very powerful and important. And given Takumi's hand here on Mulligan to 5,
Yeah.
might be over before the game even starts.
This is an unfortunate one. Takumi obviously down to 5s just sort of has to take what he's given, and what he's given is a hand that doesn't look that impressive without a couple of lands being drawn, and it's going to be even more difficult now that Karl has that information and has the deep cavern bat to take the pick of the litter. And of course you take the case. Generally speaking, and this is obviously just a general, it's not 100%, but generally speaking, when you cast a card like Deep Cavern Bat, you want to take the removal spell. Generally.
Game.
Yeah, so this is just it, really.
Game.
Unfortunately, for all the Boros Convoke enjoyers out there, Cedric Phillips.
Hi. How you doing?
This one. How are you? My question is, how are you doing?
It's a tough look right now.
Yeah, it is,
Tough
really.
look. So Karl's got the bat, got the info, knows that Takumi's hand stinks,
Yep.
and now the bat can get a little bigger while giving them their beatdowns, lifelink beatdowns, most importantly. And this is it's tough. That's tough.
It's all over but the crying here for Takumi Matsuura, who will have to come back another day. Oh, well, another day. Another
round.
Another round.
Another round.
Another round.
And
If he wants to come back another day.
I think he does.
And I think
I got a good feeling he does. Let's not forget here, my partner. Takumi's 11-2. Now this was a winning in, but there's a couple of winning ins here because we got a couple of rounds after this too. So a little bit unfortunate as far as game 3 is concerned here with how the hand broke. But given that there's a little bit of rounds to spare, it's not all doom and gloom.
No, not all doom and gloom. A little bit of doom, a little bit of gloom. We're sort of at doom and gloom
What do you think
at this
about,
point.
What do you think about that?
Oh,
Yeah.
Warden of the Inner Sky. A 1-mana 1/2.
That's right.
A 1-mana 1/2 that does nothing else against the face of Rafine, Deep Cavern Bat, and now a Virtue of Loyalty
Yeah.
being put in the Adventure Zone.
That's right. Game based game.
Well, it is anyone's game in a very technical sense, yes.
What I say, I only speak the truth.
And that's very, yeah, okay. I'm not doubting it for a second. But it's increasingly looking like one of these players' games more than it is the other.
Let's see what Takumi draws.
Okay, let's see what
How about
Takumi
that?
draws. Yeah. What's the best draw here? Just planes?
Black Lotus.
Okay, that would raise some new and troubling questions for sure.
I mean, you asked.
Yeah.
And truth the truth.
I guess the question pretty clearly implied that, I was talking about the cards that are actually in his deck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
Or maybe even in the standard format is a stretch that you could take that.
Lotus Ring.
Lotus Ring, all right.
Bat.
6, 7, 8, 9.
That's a big bat.
That's a big bat. That's an Australian-sized bat.
Yeah.
We make them big down there.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, they're really big.
Everything's big down there.
Well,
It's scary.
the bats in particular, like I don't know how small your bats are in the rest of the world. We got big bats.
Small bat.
Yeah. Well, that's a small bat there, but we got a big old fruit bat on the other side of the battlefield here for Karl Sarap, and it's going to secure the game for him. The Boros Convoke player not really in game number 3 there, sadly. Down to 5. You hate to see it, but Karl Sarap will take the wins as they come, and he is one step closer to a top 8 berth there. Cedric, I imagine you're unhappy to see the Boros Convoke deck go down, but the good news there is our Japanese player still has plenty of chances to get across the line with this list, and so I'm sure you'll be hoping to see him again in the feature match.
Look, Takumi really likes to play aggressive strategies. We've seen that over the past couple of Pro Tours. What I will say there is, in Game 1, fantastic start, but missing the Anthem effect to be able to cross the finish line, as we saw. So the game had some back and forth, but ultimately Karl was able to stabilize and then win the game pretty quickly. Game 2, you saw Boros Convoke come in waves, which it can have draws that do look like what we saw in game number 2 and able to kind of overcome everything that Karl did. But some of the times the problem with Boros Convoke is that I think the deck does mulligan a decent amount, and it is prone to having good mulligans. It's also prone to having mulligans that look like when it did in game number 3, which is effectively do nothing. So it's a deck with a very, very high ceiling and a pretty low floor, and we saw all sides of it
We
in
got
those
a
3
tour,
games.
of the whole house.
We sure did.
We
sure
absolutely did, and I'm hoping we'll get a chance to explore that particular Zilla listing a little bit more in a future round. But right now, we're going to take a quick break. We've got another match to bring you as we continue coverage of Standard here. So it's over to Corey and Maria to set up what's coming up next.
Stick around. Up next is Zhang versus Javier Dominguez.
Zhang's 4-color Legends here is trying to take advantage of Rona and Relic of Legends to crank out a bunch of creatures, while Javier, on the other hand, is going to try to play Rafine and back it up with a bunch of counter spells and removal spells.
Will it be Legends over Midrange? We'll find out up next.
Coverage of Pro Tour Thunder Junction continues here from Seattle, Washington in the United States of America. And it's my great pleasure to welcome you back to the booth here, Riley Knight, joined by Cedric Phillips as we continue our exploration of this standard format. I've enjoyed it so far, Cedric, and I don't expect that that's going to change as we get stuck into our next game, our next match on camera. We're going to be jumping into game number 2 between Zhang and Javier Dominguez. We've already seen Javier tear it up with Esper Midrange, and we've seen the 4-color Legends deck in the hands of a couple of different people on screen across the weekend.
I want to see it really fire off. I want to see this thing go. I want to see its ceiling draw.
What you want to see, Cedric? You want to see someone get gurked.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you do. You're real nuts.
Javier, you know, if it's you,
And if it's Javier who has to get gurked, you know,
Javier probably just win the next 2 matches in the tournament.
and that'll be it, but that's the way it goes. All right, both players here on 7 cards. And a swift pace of play here after a very long game 1. We're told that game 1 lasted around 23, 25 minutes?
Yeah, definitely over 20 minutes, and you can definitely see, there's some real pace of play here that's being taken into consideration because Javier is looking to finish. Now, remember, and I know you know this, but Javier does have the ability to play pretty fast.
Yeah, his hands turn to blurs at some point after when he really wants to go into top gear. Go for the throat. The exchange here with a Fairy Mastermind. They're going to be a second Fairy Mastermind, which will run up against that Titania. As discussed, does have reach. Long arms.
Oh, Javier, no. I would have got God.
Yeah, you would have got God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why you're sitting here and not there, Sid.
I see it's pretty comfy, though.
You did get the comfy seat in the booth, didn't you?
Yeah,
What's that about?
Yeah.
What's that about? Me and Marshall sitting here on this rickety footstool. You and Marnie, luxuriating.
I know some people.
Yeah, you got connections all the way down. All right, double Fairy Mastermind here. This is the 3rd one for Javier. He himself appears on a Magic card, so why wouldn't he play other World Championship cards? And a key card here for Ray, playing Rona. This is a critical card in the 4-color Legends list, but Javier's going to go after the Titania just so he can get in.
We're going to play a fun little mini game here. Right. Okay, so Cutdown's going to take care of one of the Fairy Masterminds. So there was a decision there between cutting down Titania, which has reach, of course, to be able to attack with your flyers, or to kill Rona, which we know is a very important piece of the puzzle here. However, when the Fairy Mastermind's on the battlefield, Fairy Mastermind, Rona, advantage, one could argue, Fairy Mastermind, especially when you have 2 of them.
Yeah.
So, instead, we're seeing it.
And now on Iganjo.
Next day!
Wow.
So we would normally see maybe a Rona activation, but Fairy Mastermind saying, don't do that.
Nope.
So instead, Rona said, all right.
No, Fairy Mastermind's like, please do that.
Well, yes. And so an attack there from Rona does make some sense, and then the biggest punishment possible.
That's brutal here for Ray. And you can hear them laughing a little bit to themselves. I don't think they were expecting to be blown out by the Iganjo there. Thinking about their next move here, Zhang.
Ray, at the end of last turn, doing really good. You know, got the flyers on check, got a Rona, one of the best cards in my deck. Everything has changed now.
All right, Goose Mother.
Should I say it? Should I do the goose joke?
Let's go. Hit it.
Ready?
Go.
Moo.
That's actually really good. I was wondering where you're going to go with that one. Oh, dear. Oh, that's funny. All right, the Goose Mother here for 1. And it's going to create a food token as well. We round up. So interesting because Ray does have Slow Gurk in hand, not wanting to expose that key card at this point. Happy to run the Goose Mother out, however. Here's the Gurk now.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's not going to resolve.
Card's too good.
Yeah. It's going to get exiled, in fact, by the No More Lies. Gurk no longer.
Yeah, that's a really favorable turn for Javier, which is counter that, be able to activate Fairy Mastermind so that you draw your second turn, which means I get to draw 2 cards to 1. So that was really, really, really good for Javi. That's,
being able to do that in the end step as well,
Yeah.
making sure the card wasn't given at a point where Ray could play a land, which they drew. They drew, I think, the Takanuma. So a tidy little turn there.
Yeah,
So,
human's fine.
Cavern of Souls naming human. Play a Rona, maybe? No, it's going to be Inti. Okay.
Okay.
Pass.
End of turn.
And step?
Yeah. Okay. Draw.
All right, let's do the mastermind thing.
And in the end step, Javier draws 2. Ray draws
Cards
1.
5.
And Javier's hand looks okay. He's got a cut down. He's got a refine. Think about. Is he thinking about cutting down now?
It's
I
okay.
think he was thinking about it. There's also an Ottawa over there, too.
All right.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I was just gonna get that label, but no big deal.
Cards 5.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a... So what makes this game interesting, a couple of things. We already talked about the pace of play here from Javier, and Javier is incentivized, of course, to play faster because there are multiple games for Javier to finish if he's going to win this match. But at the same time, when you're picking up your pace of play, you also have to be able to play well at that pace. Some people are very good at that, others are not. Javier is one of them who is quite good at that, so to see him navigate this game much quicker than he would probably normally do so will be, in my estimation, pretty fun to watch.
All right, Takanuma activated here. That will trigger Inti and put a Relic of Legends into the Exile Zone, which can be cast. But then cut down. Does exactly that.
The card that Legends likes to play against maybe the least. And we've seen it be very effective against Legends over the course of this tournament thus far.
You have 2 cards in hand?
Yes. 2.
Do you have more dice?
Ray's got a nice full grip here, but not a huge number of lands.
Cast?
Cards.
Going to cast the Relic from
1,
Exile.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
3 mana available here to the 4-color Legends player.
Interesting.
Bounces.
Okay.
Ottawara bounces the Goose Mother.
I have not used my land draw for a turn.
Have not.
I will cast 1 card in.
Yeah.
I'm at 18,
Yes.
you're 20.
Yes. That's correct. Sure.
Rana.
Okay.
You can tell when you watch Javier in a spot like this.
Yeah,
Javier's naturally fidgety,
yeah. But he's really restless now.
but yeah, because you can tell that he knows time is of the essence because the first game took so long.
Okay. So I search. I can do dual land, right? I can set off his tower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Javier's asking, can I search for Rafine's tower, which you can.
Yep, it only needs to have the basic land type. It doesn't have to be an actual basic land itself. So you can search for Triome or a shock land or something like that, a surveyor land.
4 cards.
And now, Riley, this is where Rafine can really start to take over a game a little bit.
Yeah. And for Javier's sake, he'll be hoping that he can
Combat, I guess.
start to turn the corner here and get this game over and done with as quick as possible.
Good question on what to target. Okay, so Rafine's going to target itself.
Rafine connives.
Without no counters.
I think it was just 2 lands. Yeah.
So you take 3, 15.
Yeah. Caves of Koilos and the Dark Slick Shores there.
You go.
If you're right now, you're probably wondering what Javier find. But I suppose it is worth noting, checking Javier's lands. I'm counting 8. You counting 8, partner?
I'm counting, I'm not sure, because Javier has this habit of leaning
Yeah, do
over
a
the
little-
battlefield
yeah.
with his hands and his head. If you've ever tried to watch Javier draft and keep track of the cards that he's picking, oh boy.
Yeah, you can't do that.
It's very difficult. I've had to do that back in the day. And ooh mama, that was a tough position.
Yeah, the
Right,
reason
8
I care
lands
about
indeed,
the
yes.
the reason I care about the 8-mana sweet spot is just because of activations of Fairy Mastermind.
True.
Yeah, because plural potentially, and here's the first one.
Draw 1, trigger.
So Javier draws 2.
Close.
Ray draws 1. Slowgurk resolves for them.
I'm curious how Javier wants to use these tide. Yep. I was curious how Javier wants to use these tide binders that
Yeah.
he's picked up now. Plural looks like first one. Yep, right now.
Right now. Turn this into a 3/3.
That is
With no abilities.
Okay.
The overslime no longer, now just the regular
Yeah.
slime.
Yeah.
Underslime even.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Underslime.
Underslime is pretty good, yeah. All right, and for my next trick, says Ray, can still be tapped for mana because of the relic. Oh, Akhlazots, here we go.
Big bat. Oh, no, not the problem.
Akhlazots' deepest betrayal. You thought you'd felt betrayal, but have you felt the deepest
15?
betrayal?
The first betrayal is the deepest. Yeah,
All right.
that one's worth a read. It's got 4 lines of text.
Yeah. Just have a quick check of what it's doing. Flying lifelink. And when it attacks, each opponent discards. If they can't, you draw. Also makes bat tokens. But right now, we're seeing an attack once again with the Fairy Mastermind and the Rafine.
Okay.
Draw 2 to connive. We're going to find something better.
Well, this is some risky business here.
Oh, yeah, because if we discard land. Oh, no, he hasn't found lands. Not this time. It was a duress.
Discard this too.
Oh, he's going to discard a land.
Wait.
Follow up. Okay, not so.
And, oh, wow, is able to actually put the Akhlazot's trigger on the stack just in order to counter it here.
Okay.
Ray Zhang looking at these Tishana's Tidebinders and going, ugh, brother. Ugh.
Cards too, cards.
These cards have been disgusting.
Yeah, Tidebinder is outrageously powerful. You ever seen this one? You familiar with this one?
What's this one?
We've covered Virtue of
Oh,
Loyalty.
the
a time
Virtue
or
of
two.
Loyalty. Yeah, no,
you're
very familiar with that.
Yeah, you've seen this one before?
Sorry, I didn't catch you being sarcastic there. Yeah, intensely familiar with it. This card has won multiple games for our Esper players so far. And here it's just being hard cast without the intervening Knight token, which we see so often. So all of these creatures untap, and now the game firmly in Javier's control, you would say.
Yeah, I like Javier's positioning here quite a bit. Virtue's going. Battlefield looks pretty good on the ground and in the air. And I think most important of all, it's done a really nice job of just keeping Ray off balance. Has Ray been able to get Rona or Inti going, and it's still trying to just kind of piece things together. Oh, I like this by Javier. A little encroachment.
Yeah.
Keep moving the permanent
Power
up
move.
There you go. Move the graveyard up a little bit.
That's right.
Push these lands
Just
up a little
scoot
bit.
them forward.
Yeah.
That's it. By the end of the game, you're casting spells onto Ray
That's right.
Zhang's
Oh, I'm
lap.
keeping track now.
Yeah.
I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
This is the, I'm
Let's
I'm
move that
thinking.
Rafine up.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know what it is that Ray can do here.
Not much.
No. Which makes me wonder.
Okay.
All right. Big old goose mother.
6.
Okay. Get some food. Alright.
And you can see Javier's itching to get this game over.
Yeah, very, very
He's
much.
really. And look, I don't blame him. Like he needs to get a wriggle on to get the points on the board here.
And look, I think that in Game 3, players might slow down a little bit, but they both might play at a very fast pace because they both have interest in, of course, finishing the match. Now, don't forget, too, that this is a tournament, as we've looked at players' records at the news desk, where a lot of players have draws.
Yeah.
You'd prefer not to get yourself into that mess if you can.
You don't want to fall into that draw bracket, losing the 2 points that you would otherwise got for a win.
Really
All right,
good draw.
Goose Mother dies to the go for the throat. Really should be go for the throats here, unless it's a very well timed with a large
Black.
surface area.
I'd argue
to
this
the
is,
attack.
I'd argue this is pretty well timed.
Yeah.
Yes. The tapper mana.
Okay.
Black.
Yeah.
Black floating.
All right,
Move to
black
combat.
floating. And now, again, we're tapping this mana for the with the Relic of Legends, and go for the throat, targeting Ray. I think they said the bat one.
Yeah, the Tidebinder that is locked down.
Akhlazots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the plan there, to unlock that card.
All right, Akhlazots' top 10 anime betrayals is unlocked here. And returns to its position as a mighty 4/4. All right, another copy of Fairy Mastermind. I think that's copy number 4 here.
You are correct.
Yeah. And
this-
then, oh,
this
no
is-
attacks.
Oh, this is just one of those turns where attacking is probably not the most profitable. So just let Virtue do its thing, because as we've seen, actually in this matchup previously,
Yeah.
Virtue can just outclass
It just represents
everything.
inevitability.
Yeah, it just, the creatures gets much too large for Big Bat and everything else.
End of turn. There's this.
And now we're going to see, oh,
Okay, so that resolves triggers on the stack.
2 triggers.
so 2 triggers here for Javier to draw 2 extra cards.
Okay, 1 and 2. My turn. Yeah.
Yeah, not bad.
Pretty good.
Not bad.
Pretty
Rough
good. Javier Dominguez with 500,000 cards in hand here. He's going to cast Denick,
Yeah.
which is a nice one. Incidentally locks down Slowgo
Yep.
if the Tidebinder weren't already doing that.
Drop. Combat.
Yeah.
See what the attack is. No attacks. Wow, this Aclazotz really is locking the battlefield down.
It is and it isn't. And the reason I say that is because
The end of your second name.
Javier,
That's
I would argue that he has inevitability right now.
Yeah.
So why take any risk?
Okay.
What are you scared of?
Because you want to end the game as quickly as possible, so you can get on with game number 3.
Well, that's a fair point. That's a fair counterpoint.
still end of second name.
Sure. Okay.
You can hear time being called in the background. The players in the feature match area generally are on their own clock, so this is not necessarily time being called on the match that we're watching here.
1, 3, 4, 3, and 2.
It's like Javier trying to unlock his phone there, putting in his passcode. What is it again? 1, 3, 4, 3, 2. Oh, yeah, okay. And Otawara on the Denick.
This is the kind of the classic. I need to Otawara your Denick to actually be able to enable some of my stuff.
Yeah.
Temporary solution to a pretty large problem.
Yeah, an increasingly large problem thanks to the virtue of loyalty here.
Okay.
All right, Honest Radstein wouldn't be able to get anything back
Return.
if Denick were on the battlefield.
Thank you.
I kind of feel like Dominguez should have been attacking.
I mean, I think we're going to start seeing attacks next turn.
Yeah.
Because now the creatures are safe enough and in a space where Javier is pretty comfortable.
But even beforehand, I don't think you were giving up much by attack. But look, he's a lot better at Magic than I am, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to doubt it.
Yep.
All right, the Rona brought back by Honest Radstein.
Okay.
That's fine.
Javier counters it, so it's into the exile
Okay.
zone.
End of turn. I'm going to activate this. Go.
So Javier's going to pick up 3 cards, and if Javier's able to just find a removal spell here, it's lights out.
Yeah.
Turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing is
One card,
Ray
2 cards.
also does have food tokens, which can be activated with the mana from those legendary creatures. So that may slow down Javier's clock a little bit here.
Bad.
Bat,
Take a look.
what are you working with? Double cut down. They do nothing. Oh, actually, no one kills a bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's best he can do.
Yep.
So you're at 11,
Best
right?
thing to do, excuse me.
And then a go for the throat on the Aclazotz, and that should be enough to
So. this
send in
is
the clowns here.
5.
Yeah. It'll be a food. There can be 1 food token
5.
activation, but
So on an
should
effective
be plenty.
14 here, Ray. Yep. And they're going to pack them up. We're going to go to game number 3, excuse me, as Javier picks that one up. Took a while, but he got across the line in the end, leveraging some well-timed removal in order to pick through the defense that Ray Zhang had put in place.
Nice deck.
And so now we head to a deciding game in this match between these two, and it'll be
Anctil.
played, I imagine, very swiftly by both players, because Cedric, once again, neither of them wanting to fall into the draw bracket for multiple reasons.
time is very much of the essence for both players. Both players checking in at 10-3 record-wise. And remember, the goal here is 12 wins.
Yeah.
We are in round 14, 16-round tournament. So, again, the preference here is somebody get a W as opposed to a draw. And as you said, I think we are going to see some very fast Magic, and that's not a bad place to start. See if it lives. Okay, Rona does live.
Yeah, Denick on the other side of things isn't too bad. The Slowgo can't go off while Denick is in play, but
Let's cast Relic.
Okay.
it's not too difficult to get rid of Denick. And now the little engine here of Rona plus Relic is set up for Ray. So a great start for them. comes the Denic.
Two.
Block, but 2 free life here for Dominguez.
Go. Wait. No.
Oh,
Yep.
boy, that's really nice.
No, no,
yeah.
no, no, no.
Yeah, the Tidebinder, but a cut down
Pretty much.
means that they don't get to draw
That's,
because the ability was
from
countered,
Mana,
but the
cast.
Rona is now
Okay.
free to
Now.
tap away to its heart's content.
Yes.
Discard. This one. Counter.
Okay.
All right. The Seiju puts a counter on the Slogurk when it's discarded.
Turn.
Plaza of
Goose
Heroes,
for
3 mana.
Untap.
Goose Mother,
So
legendary,
and a
means it untaps the Rona. Goose Mother for 2 and a food token.
Pretty good start.
Yeah,
Pretty good start.
yeah, on turn
here for
4.
Ray.
Yep.
Sorry.
And if you're Javier and you have a removal spell,
Yeah.
you know, do you want to kill Rona? Do you want to kill Slogurk?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Denic being on the battlefield is
Graveyard
nice,
is
but-
starting to get a little confusing.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
we're gonna do our best, right?
Yeah, at the moment the division between battlefield and graveyard is between the Rona and the Titania.
Combat. Attack trigger.
All right.
So on this side,
An attack from the
there's
Goose
two-
Mother. When it attacks, you can sacrifice a
delayed
food
trigger?
if you do draw a card.
No.
So when it attacks, yeah, pause it please. When it attacks, you may sacrifice a food if you do draw a card. No, it's not a delayed trigger, so it'll do all in one.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, because of Fairy Mastermind.
Thank you.
That's why Javier, I believe, is asking that question.
Okay.
Right. Because if you flash in the Fairy Mastermind, then they just don't sacrifice the food.
Potentially, yeah.
Seven.
Or it can just be activate Rona.
Okay.
Second name.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
And now, flashing in Yuta doesn't do anything because that's the third card they've
Correct.
drawn for the turn.
Another
Correct.
Slogurk, that's the graveyard where that Slogurk just went. Slogurk just went. Slogak? That's Hogak's younger brother, Slogak.
They're best buds.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's Yuta Takahashi in the form of Fairy Mastermind. What a card. All right, Rafine, the marquee card for this deck, but it's going to get. It's going to be the victim of a long goodbye. Not a big goodbye, just a long goodbye.
Pretty short.
2 cards.
A brief goodbye.
I'd argue, yeah, pretty short goodbye.
Yeah,
truth
brief
be
goodbye,
told.
exactly, yeah.
So it looks like maybe Javier. Okay.
20,
okay.
15.
yes.
I think we're going to have a fun conclusion to this game.
Yeah?
I do.
All right.
I do. Kind of going back and forth a little bit. This isn't a... This might be a prediction, not a
17,
spoiler. I'm not quite sure, but I think Virtue of Loyalty might work itself into the equation here again.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. It has represented inevitability in matchups like these, and it could do it again.
It sure could.
All right, Denic in with the Fairy Mastermind. Slogurk grows to a 5/5.
Takanuma trigger.
Gurk
Target? No, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, Gurk getting pretty big. So
One,
3 cards.
2, 3. Return two more counters and return Titania.
Jeez. Yeah, I'd take a look at that one
Yeah,
too.
yeah, I'm
I
gonna
was
read
like, wait,
that.
hang on a second. What's
Yeah,
going
yeah,
on?
yeah, yeah. All right, Slogurk says
Cast,
you can
Titania
return it to your hand by removing 3 +1/+1 counters. Ray is also doing us a favor. I do have to say, Ray's doing us a favor by separating their graveyard in this way.
It makes it easier.
Into lands, creatures, and non-lands.
Yeah.
It is making things easier for us. So even though there's a little bit of battlefield ambiguity,
7 and 4.
they are doing us a favor here and making things a little easy to follow in the yard.
6.
That's a pretty big hit. Slogurk's really good.
Oh boy, yeah, down to 6.
Okay.
Okay, make it 2/2. So I think the plan here for Dominguez is fully this Virtue of Loyalty.
Yeah,
here.
could you imagine?
Well,
Virtue of Loyalty, really?
yeah, who could have seen it
Wow.
coming? Yeah.
Hey, crazy
If,
good card.
if only someone had pointed that out.
This is a really good card.
Yeah, it is. All right, Virtual Loyalty.
Trigger.
Powers on everything.
Second main. Discard this trigger.
Gain 2.
Gain 2, yeah.
Slogurk goes up to 9-9. And now the dice come out. So Dominguez settling in for a little bit of a longer game here, Cedric.
Ish.
You think?
The reason I say that is because I think that Ray is going to do their best to shorten this game because Slogurk is so large.
7 extra turns.
7 extra turns. Time called in the round. 7 extra turns. We don't often see 7 extra turns, but that's the result of a slow play warning. Yeah. When a player is issued it with a slow play warning, 2 extra turns are given. So this game may end up fizzling out into a draw, or we may see a rapid conclusion here. We may see Slogurk become Fast Gurk in the hands of Ray Zhang.
Were to die in combat at the same time, I would get lands. Is that true?
Your target. If they're both dead, you'll be able to target.
So they both die, and then the trigger will go on the stack and be able to target. Yes.
Thank you.
As the Denick isn't on the battlefield when the trigger is put on the stack?
Yep.
It's fine.
You know, if that were to hypothetically happen.
Yeah.
Because I think Ray believes that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And Slogurk is that 9-9?
9-9.
9-9 trample.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trample,
Yeah, 6.
pretty big deal right now.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dominguez on 6 is because he didn't have to go down to 6, but he did in order to keep his. He didn't chump block, so he could keep as many creatures around as possible to pick up counters from the Virtue.
From the Virtue, yeah.
Denick has lifelink as well. Important to remember. Ooh. Oh, we're going to see Rona assume her final form.
Let's go.
As the
Sorry.
Rona. Oh, sorry, the Tolarian Obliterator, but she's a Phyrexian wizard. When a source deals damage to Rona, that source's controller exiles a card from their hand at random. If it's a land card, put on the battlefield. Otherwise, cast it for free. Can't beat free.
This is 14 trample.
The question is, what's the card in Javier's hand?
So Javier has 2 copies of No More Lies.
Oh, so you don't mind that.
So you don't.
No, you can put stuff in front of the
like this, I don't die, do I?
You care a ton.
I guess that's true.
You care a ton about the trample damage that's happening right now.
Yeah.
And how to mitigate that. If you're Javier.
I'll be on 9, right?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can do better than that. I might.
Let's not forget as well that the Denick has lifelink.
This way I will take 9. This way I will die.
Okay, that's no good, Javier. Don't do that.
What are life totals?
6.
Okay.
16, right?
Okay, that's what I had.
So
Making sure.
it will seem like I have to block like this. So probably leads me to win that, but yeah, sure.
Okay, so I will order
Yeah. So there's 2 die. Everything else dies. There's still I can go to 1.
Yep.
No.
All right, with the lifelink goes to 1 here.
Yeah.
Javier knows that.
So this is still 11.
Yeah. No, that's right. It's with this. Right?
3-2?
Oh, sure. Well, whatever. I'm still drawing that, I think. Sure.
That's all right.
Yep. All right, doesn't have anything here, and Javier Dominguez goes down to Ray Zhang there, whose Legends deck got off to an absolute flyer in those early turns, resulting in a pretty convincing win there for Ray. And they'll be very happy with that. Javier Dominguez, hell of a player to have to beat, have to play through on the way to the top 8. So well done, Ray, for a well-deserved victory there with 4-color Legends.
Trample, kind of the name of the game there. Slogurk, very, very powerful in the matchup as well because it does grow very, very quickly. There are quick starts that can happen from that 4-color Legends deck, but I think most notably here is that kind of those 2 drops didn't really get killed. Rona got to hang out for a really long time there, so we've talked a lot about just how good cut down, go for the throwers in that matchup. Game 3, Javi didn't really find any, and 4-color Legends did its thing.
Good news for you. We're heading to another match here straight away. Kevin Anctil versus Sean Goddard. It's my understanding we're heading into game number 2 after Goddard won game number 1. But what I'm really excited to see here is Anctil's Bronco deck. That's right. We're getting bronked up here with an Orzhov mid-rangey kind of list that does feature 4 copies of Caustic Bronco and 2 copies of Shadow of Mortality to go with it. The idea, of course, being you saddle up the Bronco, you flip the Shadow of Mortality, and you deal a crisp 15 to your opponent.
Table Delta, start of game 2.
We
Very healthy amount.
We haven't seen it happen yet, but hey, we haven't finished playing Magic yet.
No, we have not.
So let's get into it here. Sean Goddard, on the other hand, Temur Analyst, another deck that's pretty close to my heart, Cedric. I've played it a bunch recently and really enjoyed myself as I did. It's it's kind of a bit, you look at it, it's kind of silly, to be honest, the stuff that it can do.
It is. Now, this is the kind of deck that Sean really likes to play. Sean is someone who really enjoys a combo strategy.
Right.
Known for playing Lotus Field and Pioneer, among other combo strategies. When I think of Sean Goddard, who, memory serves, is the old beekeeper on Magic Online, just has decided over time that if I learn combo decks really well, that's where I want to be for tournaments at this level. And I think Sean has done a fantastic job of doing that over the past calendar year.
So there was the Caustic Mount. We can maybe bring that cut up again and remind ourselves of what it does, because it is a key card in Kevin's deck. There it is. A Snake Horse Mount.
You better believe it.
They don't make them like they used to. And whenever it attacks, reveal the top card of your library, put it in your hand. If you lose life equal to that card's mana value. That's a classic old ability from a card called Dark Confident, one of the old invitational cards featuring Bob Marr. But now, with the saddle ability here, if Caustic Bronco isn't saddled, you lose life. Otherwise, if it is, each opponent loses the life that you would have otherwise lost. And again, copies of, if you'll believe it, Shadow of Mortality in this deck.
Happy to believe it.
So if the Caustic Bronco gets saddled up and you flip this bad boy right here, your opponent's getting done for 15. Dangerous thing to flip if it's not saddled.
Dangerous-ish.
Very dangerous.
Yeah. And live life on the edge. That's all.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
All right,
Dark Confidant used to be alongside Hit Run, if you remember. If you're an oldie but a goodie.
No.
Yeah,
I'm neither of those.
Happily take 8 to the face. No big deal.
I'm a youngie, and I'm a baddie.
Oh, yeah, you are.
Certified baddie.
Hashtag baddie.
That's what I get all the time. I get people calling me that all the time. I don't really understand why. I'm not particularly villainous.
Depends on who you ask, I think.
I suppose.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Everyone's got a point of view.
All right, on the other side of things, however, Nissa
I think you're great.
Thanks, Cedric.
Yeah,
and you know what? The feeling is definitely mutual.
Yes.
Nissa Resurgent Animist, a keystone card for the Temur Analyst deck. It means that every time you activate the Aftermath Analyst, you're gaining mana, usually a lot of it, because of these Capenna lands, the fetch lands, I guess, like the Broker's Heart you can see there. They all generate 2 mana when they come into play, assuming that you have a basic left to search for them. Reminds me of an old card, Lotus Cobra, from Zendikar.
Now, this is kind of the 1-2 punch from the Temur Analyst deck, which is Aftermath Analyst and Nissa. You know, this is a great start, right? This is your 2-drop, this is your 3-drop. Next turn you can, I don't go off-ish, but you can really start cooking next turn. And these plays are all totally fine here from Kevin. That's a 2-drop, another 2-drop, and then Shieldred, which is one of the best and most powerful cards in Standard. But Nissa, Sean has got the opportunity to untap with it, and an Aftermath Analyst, excuse me. We could be in store for a pretty nice turn.
The only thing here is that there aren't that many. Well, okay, this has now gotten to the point now where it's worth sacrificing the Analyst. With only 2 of the Capenna lands in the graveyard, it's kind of like, okay, I can do it, but it's not going to be that great. Whereas now with 3, you're generating 6 mana when you activate the Analyst for 4. And the other thing is, you've got a basically 50-50 shot of getting another Analyst into your hand when the second Nissa ability resolves. So this is more of a setup turn for Sean, but you'll see the Temur Analyst deck do this. They'll cycle through their graveyard multiple times with the Analyst ability here. Let's see if he finds the Analyst, or is he going to find another copy of Nissa. Nissa can fetch other Nissas. All right, finds another Analyst instead.
Sean's doing it.
Yeah, he's doing it.
He's doing it.
He's doing it. I love this deck, man. I've been playing the Jund version of this list. It's so good. I think you can find the deck list in the big list of Pro Tour decks if you want to go and find an Exalted Viewer. And it eschews interaction, surprisingly, like disruption, removal, instead for playing some of the most ridiculous draw spells and search spells you're ever going to find. So it's terrific. Both versions are terrific. I would say the blue version a little more competitive with Ill-Timed Explosion and Memory Deluge.
One of each color.
and then I'll be triggering again once these 3 lands. Go ahead.
So, the new Capenna lands come into play. They're going to search up basics here, 1, 2, and 3. Also gain a bit of life. They gain 1 life on the way down.
Then another 1 of each.
And so 6 mana in the pool now for Sean Goddard after those 3 basics come into play. And I can only compliment Sean on his choice of basics as well.
Oh, you're a fan of these.
I do.
We're going to work ourselves into this conversation.
I do like it.
Okay.
I feel like it's a conversation that you don't love, Cedric.
How could you? That's assuming a lot.
No, it's based on observational evidence.
I greatly enjoy talking about lands.
Do you really?
I do.
Oh, okay.
And I think these lands are a fantastic choice.
Yeah, they're good. They're real good. All right. The Aftermath Analyst now can be sacrificed once again and generate another. Oh, I was going to say 6, but no, 10 mana. Now, after flipping that was very, very good there. That mill trigger.
It's happening.
Hot heat.
Yeah, it's happening.
All right, so 5 life, 5 mana, and assuming there are still enough basics, which there almost certainly will be. These decks do play between 28 and 30 lands most of the time, and tend to play 16 to 18 basics. So there still should be enough.
This is not good news for Kevin.
No.
Who has been one of my favorite players to watch play in this tournament so far. Had one of the best limited matches I've seen in a very, very long time against Javier Dominguez. And we got to see some awesome action with the Caustic Bronco yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this, I think, just might be a really tough matchup for Kevin.
It's a shame for fans of Broncos everywhere. Broncos, Brumbies, horses of all kinds.
That's true.
Snake horses.
Mounts.
Regular horses.
True.
Weeping tears of sorrow at the fact that this Caustic Bronco is not bronking away.
But on the flip,
all right,
if you're a fan of combo.
Oh, baby. Although this isn't really a combo deck, is it? It's not a combination deck.
What would you call it then?
I'd call it anything but a combo deck because I don't want to be a combination deck game.
Okay,
That's
sure.
why. And I really
don't want to be a member. You don't want to be a member.
really like this deck.
You don't want to be a member of Combo Nation?
I don't want to be a member of Combo Nation, but I fear I sort of inadvertently am because I've played this deck a lot and really enjoyed it. Here is Spelunking.
Spelunking, using 2 blue and 1 green.
Spelunking, really important in this list, as we may see, because it causes lands to enter the battlefield untapped. So that means that with a Nissa out and a Spelunking out, if you play one of those Capenna lands, it's 3 mana.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here it comes now. Here it comes. So, oh, maybe not. Ill-timed explosion instead, perhaps. But that card that you saw flashed on your screen very briefly there, Virtue of Strength, another huge card in this deck, right? So Garen Rig Growth can go and get a creature or a land. And we're seeing it bring back Aftermath Analyst, which, of course, with the amount of mana that's still in pool, can be played and activated. And now with Spelunking in play, you're going to see a lot more mana generated. Okay, and an extra Capenna land there in addition to an island. And so now, Aftermath Analyst is going to be sacrificed. These lands are going to be brought back. And you ready for the big call?
Let's do it.
Not enough basics in the deck left.
Okay. Okay.
Entering 6 of which are fetches.
So, 6 life. I don't think there are going to be 6 basics left in the deck here, Cedric. That's Riley Knight's big call.
That's your big call.
That's the Riley Knight big call here. Haven't counted, don't need to.
Oh.
7 more mana.
Play by feel.
Hubris.
Yeah.
Has been put on the stack.
Yeah.
For you.
Well,
Okay.
that's not legal in standard. So, Judge.
I don't know why you're casting it then.
Hubris for me isn't a card. It's a way of life. It's a mindset, Cedric.
2, you want to count them together?
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
Job well done.
Thank you very much, my friends. I'll be here all weekend, unless I lose my job, in which case I won't be.
I think 3 is still totally fine.
It's I'm not saying it's not.
I think it's fine.
My only point was there aren't going to be enough basics to fulfill all of the fetch lands.
I want to know who figured this deck out. This is one of the things I love about Magic.
Yeah.
It's actually one of my favorite things about Magic. I could never, ever
No.
Adding 3
build
mana
this deck. Just like, hey, I'm going to work on a deck today. What's he going to do? Aftermath Analyst, new Capenna lands, put them all into play.
Yeah.
Alongside Nissa, then I'm going to cast like this super big Virtue, have all the manas in the world, and fireball you. Nah.
Well, when I first saw this deck, I'm like, oh, this will be fun. Like a little novelty deck, right? This is the sort of deck that I used to stream Magic, and when I did that, I was like, this is just a godsend, this sort of deck. Played like, great, this is going to be great fun. It's gonna be, it's going to be silly, going to be entertaining. Come here, it's like a sizable portion of the Pro Tour field. It's actually very good.
Yes.
It's very good.
Very good deck. Because my brain doesn't work this way. I can never even think of this. I'm just trying to think of which white 1-drop I want to play.
From all the different choices you've got available
They give you so many.
I will say, one weakness of this deck, from just a purely, I guess, playing the game to have a good time perspective, is that the fun is a little zero-sum, more so than others.
Okay, well, I'm gonna push back on that.
Because Kevin is sitting here just being like, all right, I guess you get to do all the, I guess you get to play all the game, take all the game actions.
Let's consider how much fun Sean is having.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because fun is zero-sum.
All fun is zero-sum.
That's what I think.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
That's Cedric Phillips' big call.
Yeah, that is.
Fun is zero-sum. If you are having any fun, that's fun that I should be having instead.
That's right.
All right. Okay.
Right.
That explains a lot. That explains a lot about you and your approach to life, Cedric.
Mostly Magic. Mostly Magic.
Oh, so it's only Magic fun that's zero-sum.
Yeah.
So if you're like on a roller coaster with someone, you're happy to share the fun there?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
That's a little different.
Absolutely.
You're not on a roller coaster being, hey, everyone sit down, stop talking.
No,
I'm
that's
the only one allowed to
That's
have
not me. That's not me. Now in the field of battle,
right
here,
yeah,
I admire Sean's work right now.
Yeah.
He is painting with a beautiful brush.
Yeah.
Deck is operating.
It's not zero-sum because I'm
perfectly.
having fun. I'm having
beautiful.
a lot of fun. Yeah.
You know what that means?
Yeah.
We're having fun.
We're having fun.
Sweet.
Well, are you? Can you stop, please? Because that's fun that I could be having.
You make a good point.
Thank you. Unbelievable. All right.
This beating that Sean is giving is extremely believable.
The Virtue of Strength means now that all of the basic lands tap for triple.
Ooh, turtle.
Colossal Sky Turtle to play here.
1 green and 2 blue.
And you can hear Sean keeping careful track of all of the mana that is being spent and hoarded. So Turtle to return another Virtue of Strength. Is that right?
Might be.
Perhaps the Titan of Industry is under consideration. If you get another Virtue of Strength out, then these lands now tap for 9 mana each, as they are multiplicative, not additional alternative.
I'm gonna put on my teaching cap here
Okay.
for a moment for everybody at home.
All right, let's go.
Standard.
Yeah.
Might be watching this for the first time.
Uh-huh.
Might be interested in what's going on here.
Yeah.
Here's what I would tell you.
Yeah.
When your opponent has an Aftermath Analyst and then a Nissa, kill one of them.
One of them.
Kill something.
Doesn't matter which one.
Just kill something.
Get one of them off the board.
Oh, it's your turn.
Yeah, it's your go.
Neat.
Yeah, by the way, when I untap, I'm going to have access to around 100 mana.
I don't have any lands left in my deck. Go.
Yeah. All right, Kevin with the ability to make 4, maybe 5 mana.
5's a lot.
5 is a lot.
You know what that means? That means Kevin wouldn't have missed a land drop.
Yeah.
I have 16 to 27.
Sean, on the other hand, has the capacity to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 billion mana.
Roughly.
Here. Roughly. Thank you. Cedric, in a cosmic sense.
Oh, not this again.
In a cosmic sense, really, what is the difference between the mana production of these two players? A mere rounding error separating the amount of mana that these two players can produce.
You know, I think you're right about that.
Yeah, well, I am right.
You know, we can ask Frank.
We can.
He's here.
I'd really rather we didn't.
That's good.
We could. It's going to be enough. We're going to see Sean Goddard take it out after double Virtue of Strength. Multiplies his mana production by 9. And as a result, a big dub coming his way. I love this deck. It's been a joy to watch it at work. Having said that, I do want to see more of this deck from the other side of the table, the Broncolicious Orzhov deck that we really haven't seen go off in the way that I would have hoped.
We haven't seen it actually have the opportunity to kind of go off and do its total thing yet, but what I'll say this. Sean's deck was the star of the show there, so I'm going to put a little attention on that. There's a reason that this deck kind of coming into the tournament, it's not the most played deck. Esper Midrange is. We kind of all know that. But this was a deck that everybody had to think about and talk about. Now, Rest in Peace is a huge way to kind of counteract what the Temur Analyst deck is doing. But the big question was the Temur Analyst deck and the people who were piloting it, were they able to find a game plan that could kind of work around it. And truth be told, the answer to that question could be no, and hope the opponent doesn't draw Rest in Peace, right? Because when the deck is firing on all cylinders, as you saw there, it feels like by far the most powerful deck in Standard, and I'm hoping to see that happen once again, because when that deck is doing its thing, it's very, very tough to beat.
It's very, very tough to beat, and also very fun to play and fun to watch, so we hope to see more of it.
I would never play it, though.
No. You're the one chucking the stick between the spokes there.
Too stupid.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to say it. Anyway, we've got right now Ailey standing by with our victorious Sean Goddard, so let's head down and hear what Sean has got to say.
I've got Sean Goddard here, who just picked up a very good victory indeed. Sean, how did that matchup go?
So that's a very scary matchup. My opponent can kill me very quickly. His draws didn't quite come together this time, so I just had the fastest possible draws from the Temur side, and I was able to win without much problem. But I would say that matchup is pretty scary in general.
All right, now looking ahead to the rest of your matches, what do you want to face and what are you hoping to avoid?
I haven't faced Convoke at all yet. I said yesterday it was probably my best matchup. I don't know if that's still true, but yeah, I would love to face that, and I'd quite like to avoid any of these, like the Wild Jund Analyst deck. I have not tested against that, I'll be honest. So yeah, I'm hoping not that.
Yeah, plenty of people don't test against the other column, but best of luck. I hope the rest of your rounds go extremely well.
Thank you so much.
Well, I certainly do too. I certainly do hope that we see Sean continue to tear it up in the feature match area, because it's a joy to watch him play. But right now, we're going to take a quick break and get our next round of Magic set up as we head towards our top 8. So don't go anywhere. Plenty of Magic coming your way. It's back to Maria at the news desk after this.